Okay, so first of all, thank you everybody for joining at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning or whatever time it is where you're joining from. Thank you to Jennifer, who is our program coordinator and student advisor, and Tharwat, who is our program engagement specialist. Um, they are both on the meeting, and we will have like a kind of a roundtable question and answer period at the end, where we'll answer any questions you guys have on hand, and they'll also be there to answer questions too. Um, First of all, yeah, thank you guys for joining. We are super excited to hopefully kind of give you guys an idea of what your life might look like in the next 4 years, because you guys have a ton to be excited for. So my name is Zach, and I'm really excited to be joined by Anam and Emily. Let's get into this. Next slide. First of all, the University of Calgary, located in the heart of southern Alberta, both acknowledges and pays tribute to the traditional territories of the peoples of Treaty 7, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprised of the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. Okay, so first, before we kind of get into this, we have a little video for you guys. This thing called the Rex Challenge. You'll get some more information in your inbox, but go ahead, Emily.
Emily, can you unmute? We can't hear that. And start it over.
Sure thing. Sorry about that.
I'm Rex, the UCalgary mascot and #1 dino fan. This incoming class is looking dynamite. Cheering for dinos is my thing. Without you, I would be a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Jurassic times call for Jurassic measures, so I've got a roarsome challenge just for you. Keep an eye on your inbox. I'll post details shortly. This challenge will be online, not in the field, so you will not have to worry about getting dinosaur. Complete my challenge, and you will be entered to win the U at UCalgary Rex's Challenge Award, an exclusive prize with UCalgary swag. Be sure to watch your email for more instructions after the event. Go Dinos!
Awesome. Yeah, so again, you guys will get more information about that in your email inbox. So just a quick agenda. We kind of hope the best way to kind of give you guys an idea what your life might look like in the next 4 years is just to kind of share our stories on how this program has looked for us. We didn't plan this. It's entirely possible that Jennifer did. We've all come at this program from super kind of different paths and gotten super different things out of it, which honestly I think is just speaks volumes to how broad this program is, and the different ways you can take it. And hopefully the idea is it makes you feel good about your ability to just be you come fall, because really that's what BHSC is about, and that's the only way to get, or that's the best way to get an awesome time out of it. Again, we'll have a roundtable discussion with some question and answer period at the end. We won't be asked or answering any like registration kind of questions. Jennifer will keep in contact with you guys about registration info. And if you're still having questions after she's contacted you, feel free to direct those to her. So first of all, just to get any tension out, because I remember I'm sitting here thinking about what I was feeling like this day coming into first year. I'd like to shake out a little bit of tension because I was sweating. So I just like everybody, I can't see anybody on camera, so I'm gonna look dumb. Well, we're all gonna look dumb together. To raise your hands to your face really quick and shake them like crazy for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, if you guys have Dr. Arcelano Panlilio in third year, she does that sometimes during class. It's awesome. Um, and technically, just kind of want to get to know who we kind of have. So we're going to get you guys to answer some questions in the chat box. Number one, let's get some major pride out there. If anyone can just kind of, everyone can put in the chat what major you're in. So biomed, health and society, or bioinformatics. Yeah, biomedical science. Epic. Epic. Love the participation, guys. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, and number two, if you want to put where you're taking this call from. Vancouver. Hey, that's where I'm from too. Thunder Bay, Kelowna. Epic. Northwest Territory. That's cool. Mad Hat. Epic. All right. Well, welcome here. If you're Vancouver, I'm terribly sorry. It's 8 a.m. Saturday. That's tough. And then to kind of get to know you guys a little more too, a very massive skill testing question, your first university exam. In what order do you put toothpaste and water on your toothbrush? Put what you put first slash what you put second, or if you don't brush your teeth, please let us know now. Water, toothpaste, water, absolutely paste and water. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of water to a sandwich. I don't know, sandwiching it kind of crazy, but water, toothpaste. Oof, okay, okay, yeah, not sure I feel about that. All right, judgment period is over. And lastly, we're here to help you guys. We're here to make you feel good about your experience coming into UCalgary. And it's our hope that in this presentation we kind of answer some questions or some nerves that may be going on right now. If you guys can give us a one word for how you're feeling right now, just about university, and then slash a one word about anything you kind of hope we answer in this presentation. Again, we'll have a bunch of question and answer period at the end. But just so we kind of know how everybody in the meeting is feeling, one word for how you're feeling, one word for a kind of question slash something that you kind of hope we touch on or answer today. I did student life. Excited is awesome. Nervous, workload. Excited in clubs, good one. I definitely like all the excited I'm seeing. Great slash great answer, Ruben. Anxious courses. Yeah, that's fair. Excited courses. Okay. All right. All right, awesome. First of all, thank you guys for the participation. Appreciate it. That makes this meeting so much so much better if we can kind of have it as like a more of a discussion. We're here to help kind of thing. So to get into it without further rambling, we kind of hoped the best way to just give you an idea of life would just be kind of to tell you how our lives have been in our degrees. We each represent the different majors in health or in health sciences, and we've each kind of split our part up into school life, so academics. Research, because that's something that's awesome about the BHSC program, is you get exposed to a ton of super cool research opportunities, and we've all been pretty lucky to get involved in some of them. And then a life section, because yes, you absolutely will have a life outside of BHSC and outside of school. And then one kind of take home phrase or kind of 2 cents, something that's kind of helped us throughout our degree. So without further rambling, let's get to it. So my name is Zach. I go by he, him pronouns. I am in my third year of biomed, and I'm from Vancouver, BC. So out of province students. Yeah. Next slide. All right, so going straight into school. I came into biomed, to be completely honest with you guys, knowing very, very little about where I wanted to end up, kind of career-wise, academics-wise. I think, like probably many of you, I always had kind of medicine slash the world of health sciences in the back of my mind as something that I was interested in. But if there's one thing that I hope you guys take out of my portion of this, it is that no, you do not have to have your aspirations, your interests, anything already decided. That is what school is for. That is what the BHSE program is awesome for. Let it happen. Um, yeah, I think biomed is pretty awesome for this because in the first 2 years, you guys really just get a pretty broad, in-depth baseline into all those science courses that I'm sure everybody loved in high school. So bio, chem, physics, math, pretty much everything. You get a super in-depth baseline into it, which is awesome because it allows you to kind of cater your degree in third and fourth year to what you found interesting in first and second year. You also get experience like presenting and doing some kind of in-class research, which is like invaluable the later you guys go into your degree. And you also get to do some pretty cool stuff in lab, potentially making painkillers or stuff that might or may not be explosive in organic chemistry and biochemistry. It's great in the first couple of years, guys. And then yeah, really in third and fourth year, it totally is. Biomed is just like I think as of right now, two of my classes out of the five I'm in are pretty much just self-directed research. It's doing things that you found interesting in first couple of years, and it's super cool. So for me, that's kind of looked like there's so many ways you can take this degree, guys. For me, something that I've really gotten kind of interested in and involved in is the field of immunology. No, when I was sitting in your position, I had no idea what that word meant. It's just kind of the study of infectious disease and like the mechanisms behind disease, so at a cell level. Um, and I will shameless plug here MedSci 321 if you are a biomed major. MedSci 321, which is an introduction to immunology class, is one of the greatest electives you can take. Uh, Personally, it's been my favorite class, I think, in BHSC. Not that they're all not awesome, but I think that has been my favorite class. It's with Dr. Craig Jenny, who was one of kind of like the lead immunologists and head reach out people for Alberta Health Services during COVID. And I kind of came into this degree at the tail end of that COVID pandemic. And it was pretty cool to have a prof that I could Google and you would see like Dr. Jenny gives update on vaccine status and at the same time get like kind of an in-depth uh, mechanistic background into what was changing my life for a few years. So I found immunology super cool, and that's kind of shaped where I've gone in this degree and some research that I'm doing now, and hopefully where I end up maybe doing my honors thesis. That is, if my PI isn't sick of me by then. But yeah, again, it's something that I found interesting, and it's the best part of this degree is you get to find something that's interesting. I will dumb it down or simplify it now to what I have on the slide. Something that I will take to my grave is that biomed, immunology, really most biomed sciences 101 is making things glow cool colors and attempting to explain. So those two pictures on the left are labs you get to do in third year. So in my year, you asked me 3 months ago when I handed in this report. I could probably explain that, maybe not now. And yeah, also I'm a mad study snacker. It's actually a huge problem. My grocery bill goes insane in its final season. But yeah, so next slide. Okay, moving on into research. So I will first say right off the bat that that word scared the living daylights out of me. When I was in your position, I had never been involved in research. It was just kind of this big, scary thing that that was terrifying. And I would like to at least try to kick those fears to the curb if any of you are feeling the same thing. Really, research once you get into school is just adults being curious about cool adult things and looking for help. Like it seriously is just curiosity in the form of a job, and it's awesome. And I've been pretty lucky, maybe not to the extent of my presentation mates, Anam and Emily, to have a couple cool research experiences. And I feel really lucky because I've kind of gotten to see the whole, like polar opposites of the spectrum of research. So in first year, this should hopefully kind of show you how non-scary research can be. My first experience in research came from going to my little brother's hockey tournament in Edmonton. I stayed there for Thanksgiving, and I was just watching my brother playing hockey. And there was a lady with a University of Calgary sports medicine jacket on. I was kind of like, oh, that's cool. She was taking notes and looked official. And I was just kind of curious. So I went over and talked to her. And she was doing concussion spotting. So she was just kind of watching games for concussion mechanisms, and I was pretty immediately like, "Oh my gosh, that's the coolest job in the entire world." And she it turned out she was working for a research study called SHRED at the U of C, which is like actually not 100% sure if it's still going on, but it was like a National Football League funded study, and I'm a sports person. That immediately got me. I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's the coolest thing ever." And a 2 minute conversation turned into a year of me watching rugby footage for concussion mechanisms. And that was kind of my first foray into research in first year. And then we'll flip 180 degrees into now I'm currently doing research for, again, MedSci 321 plug, Dr. Craig Jenny plug. That prof from MedSci 321 is now my research supervisor. for an immunology project where I'm looking at enzymes involved in sepsis, which is just like a really bad immune response to infection, normally bacteria. And that involves pretty much as micro science as you can get. Micro being that microscope on the right, which is worth give or take a million in change. And I should not be allowed anywhere near it. But it's super cool. So that's kind of what I drive for my other side of research. And I hope that kind of just gives you guys an idea of this is like research is so broad. And the great part about BHSC is your profs are most part like researchers and you're exposed to research like right off the bat. MedSci, your first year MedSci classes is pretty much research. So really, if I had any advice for it, it's find something that you think is cool. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's driving around in a Shred Concussions RV, yes, I did get to drive around in that RV, and it was awesome. To really whatever you find curious, just dig in. Don't be scared of it. It's just learning and it's just being curious and it's awesome. Okay, next slide. Okay, moving on to life. I will say right away, myth, that you do not have a life as a university student. Ignore the Instagram reels. They are just attention seeking. Yes, you will absolutely have a life as a BHSC student, as a university student, and honestly, it's essential too. Um, I am of the firm belief that balance and keeping things that you're passionate about and things that make you happy is the only way to really succeed and have fun and do well in something. And so for me, this is always in sports. So I've been involved in sports like my whole life. I played hockey all the way growing up. Played a year or two of competitive junior hockey while taking courses in BHSC in the first couple of years of my degree. And I've recently switched to the University of Calgary Dinos rowing team. Here is my second shameless plug of my part. I know, well, brutal. Um, is the Dinos rowing team. Rowing is a super cool sport because no one really starts it until they get into college and they get into kind of the like we have coaches on our rowing team. One of our assistant coaches every now and then is a lady who won a gold medal in the Paris Olympics, and she started rowing at 25. Like guys who get D1 scholarships or Division 1 scholarships in the States don't start rowing until they've kind of come out of their other sport. So if you're an athlete and you are looking to continue something, but you're not sure if you want to continue your sport, feel free to talk to me about rowing. I am always up for that. It's an awesome community and it's something that I've been super grateful for. Um, in addition to rowing team, I love being outside. I love hiking. I love skiing. I love mountain biking. I do some ultra marathon running. I will always be outside. You can pretty much always find me in the mountains on a weekend if I don't have too much school, which trust me, there are lots of weekends where you can be in the mountains. Um, and yeah, I would really just say whatever you're passionate about right now, guys, and even let it change for sure, but keep it like do things that make you happy, and it will not only make you happy outside of school, it'll help you in school. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for life. And then next slide. And then lastly, my 2 cents is a rowing pun. Forge your crew. A crew is a boat in rowing. I didn't know that until this year, to be fair. But anyways, so I'm an out of province student, I guess, or out of town student, I guess, like most of you on this call, or I guess all of you on this call. And for me, one of the biggest things about school for me, or one of the most valuable things, has been finding a group of people who I work with, or who I work well with, who I enjoy being around. Um, I think one of the greatest things about BHSC and university in general is that it is so broad and it's such a big pond with a lot of fish that it pretty much does not matter what your niche is. You will find people on campus who you work well with and who you can lean on. And like school gets tough, guys, but that shouldn't scare anybody in this call. You guys are all here for a reason, and you like challenging things. But it's made so much easier when you have a group of people that you can work with. So these guys, these wonderful gentlemen on the on your screen right now. That's Daniel on your left, and that's Brendan on my right. Daniel's from Calgary, Brendan's from Cobourg. So just another example. Vancouver, Calgary, Cobourg. Of it doesn't matter where you're from, what your background is, you'll find people. I met them day one of biomedical science. They're both still in biomed, and they are currently in the same house as me. We now rent a townhouse, and it's awesome. Except Daniel never does his dishes. I think he's asleep, so he won't hear that. But yeah, finding a crew that you guys can work with, get through the tough times with, have fun in the good times with, is honestly, I think, one of the best things about university. That first week, if you're an out of province student, the first little bit of time, I know it's not easy. Drain that social battery, man. I get it. I'm an introvert too. But finding a group that first little bit is so valuable to you, even if it changes. But finding people to work with, I think, is my biggest 2 cents. That's it for me.
Okay, cool. That was great, Zach. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. As you can see, I'm a bioinformatics major. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm really excited to kind of talk through my journey with bioinformatics and how I kind of got into this program and what I've done with it. So first things first, I started my first year with zero research experience, but as you can see in the picture on the screen, I've since become a research enthusiast. That's not even my research. I signed up for that research project, and I kind of included that picture in this presentation because I think it kind of encapsulates my main takeaway message here. That is, try everything you can in university. Don't be afraid to sign up for things like if you don't have any experience in them. I've really tried to live by that during my time here. The university has an incredible webpage about ongoing research projects, and I've just tried to sign up for a bunch of them. I think I've made like over $500 just doing random things. I've done German phonetics studies, tests on iron supplementation. I've gotten to take a VO2 max test so many times. Who doesn't love getting paid in the name of science? But anyways, moving on to bioinformatics itself. As I mentioned, I am a bioinformatics major, and while I've come to appreciate wet lab work, albeit a bit reluctantly, I much prefer working with data and code. One thing I've absolutely loved about the BHSC program is its flexibility. For your core bioinformatics options, you get to choose between typical like bio, med sci, chem courses. I took my one required med sci bio course, and I've taken the rest comp sci courses. I absolutely fell in love with it during my time here. And don't worry if you're thinking like, oh, well, I don't know if there's any bioinformatics students on the call right now. But even if you're not a bioinformatics student and you're kind of considering it as a minor or taking some bioinformatics options, I'd highly recommend it. And if you're thinking, oh, I don't know how to code, when I started, I had no coding experience either. I think my entire programming experience going into first year was Scratch. For those of you who don't know, it's a literal like drag and drop coding language made for children. Um, as a bioinformatics major, you'll be taking two introductory like comp sci courses in Java and Python, I believe they were. I remember that when I took them, I had an absolute blast, and the rest is history. And another great thing that I've really enjoyed is that you get the opportunity to work with a lot of bioinformatics specific kind of computer tools in your actual bioinformatics classes. And I should preface this by saying if you're going into this program and you don't know exactly what bioinformatics is, that is totally okay. I didn't either. I remember when I applied to the program, I wrote every single major that I was interested in on a whiteboard and spent my day crossing them off one by one. I ended up with like a couple of bio ones. I think I had kinesiology, I had comp sci, and I had bioinformatics. And bioinformatics seemed just like the coolest bridge between these two things that I was really interested in. It's proven to be the coolest bridge between the two, in my opinion, throughout the program. And it's been a lot of fun, even if you're not a bioinformatics major or considering a bioinformatics minor. There's a bioinformatics club on campus. They run a lot of cool events. I'm not a part of it, but I know some people that are, and they're a really great group of people. Which brings me to my next point. Try to find your niche on campus. You can see that little image on the right there. I am of the opinion that your university experience is so much more than simply going in, out, and coming out with a degree on the other end. I remember in first year, a lot of the sentiments I was hearing echoed the thoughts of like, the jump from high school is so intensive, you're going to spend all your time studying, or UOC is a commuter campus, you're going to have no friends. It's tough at times, But you're going to have a life outside of campus. You can make friends. I truly think you get what you put into it. I've personally been taking like 4 courses a semester with some spring summer. I found it super manageable workload. Again, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stress. I was locked in the library yesterday for 8 hours straight finishing a paper. But you're going to have time to do things. I've gotten to join a bunch of clubs. I've gotten to volunteer in the ER. I've gotten to work with U of C's chapter of Women in STEM and Engineering. And I've gotten a part-time job on campus. But I think the best thing that I've done throughout university and the niche that I've kind of found is on a whim in first year, I signed up for a beginner fencing program. And now I'm training 4 times a week. I've gotten to compete across Canada and I've met like the best friends of my life. So don't be afraid to just kind of dive into something you're completely unfamiliar with, because who knows, it might just become your new favorite thing. There's countless workshops and events put on across the university, across both campuses. I'm pretty sure they've got a calendar online that kind of outlines a lot of the events that they have. So don't be afraid to stick around after your classes and kind of see what's going on and what you can really get involved with. Moving on to some research. I remember when I joined the program, I had no idea health sciences was such a research focused degree beyond knowing that it kind of came with a thesis at the end. But now I've been working with this one lab, the Hallgrimson lab, for coming up on 3 summers, and I'm planning on doing my thesis with them. And that's a lot of wet lab work, which for those of you who might not be familiar with the term, it's a lot of like pipetting and kind of the stereotypical like lab stuff you picture. But I'll get into kind of some of what I've done as a bioinformatics student before I talk about that. And what I love about the bioinformatics program specifically is how kind of research is integrated into your coursework. I didn't end up working with this lab until my second summer, or summer after my second year. I spent the first one traveling, but I think my first real experience with research was in January of my first year, actually, as a part of MedSci 201, which is the block week course that I had to take as a bioinformatics major. They taught us a bunch of fun techniques like BLAST or how to run a phylogeny, which might sound like a bunch of gibberish to you now, as it did to me when I did it. But it's a lot of fun. And for our final project, they were kind of like, find some data online, find a tool, do something with it, and write a paper. And I think that theme has really carried throughout my degree, because so much of the data you get to work with is open access and so many of the tools are open source. You have the ability to run these entire huge computational analyses from your computer, which I personally think is super interesting and a super, super cool thing we get to do as bioinformatics students. I know the bioinformatics program has these things called CURES, they're course-based undergraduate research experiences. MedSci 301 is one. And our prof actually gave us data from her lab, recommended a couple of tools, and we got to look for novel mutants in the C. elegans genome, which was a lot of fun. But getting into kind of what I've done for my summers, I've been working in the Hallgrimson laboratory for the past 2 summers, going into 3. It's been a lot of wet lab work. I was really excited to kind of get that complement to my dry lab training. I had no experience going into it. I don't think I'd taken most of my chem courses with the actual labs when I first started with the lab. But I kind of dove right in. You don't have to have experience. They understand that you're undergraduate students. They understand that a lot of you are new to this. But what I've kind of gotten to do is I've gotten to work with mice, and we image their faces. We're studying how morphology, so facial structure, changes in response to a couple of mutations. I really like this lab because it kind of integrates bioinformatics with the wet lab. As you can kind of see on the screen, we do a lot of imaging and then we put it through an image processing pipeline. And it really emphasizes kind of like the interdisciplinary research aspect of it, which is something the health science program really drives home in the first couple of years. There's a lot of collaboration between things. So research has been a super cool experience for me. I have to stress to you guys, it's scary reaching out to people and it's scary trying things for the new time, but it works out in the end. You're going to have a lot of fun trying new things throughout your university career. Moving on here, I think one of the best things I did throughout my university experience is a study abroad. Here we have some pictures from my 2023 study abroad in fall to Madrid. It was a super cool experience. I think I got to take some of my favorite courses throughout the degree in Spain. And I mean, I got the chance to kind of live independently. What else or at whether point in your life are you kind of going to get that experience to uproot your life and then just be able to come back home at the end of it. Um, I'd like to stress that if you're going on study abroad, kind of take advantage to take specific courses that are kind of unique to the area you're going in. I mean, it's a great opportunity. Why spend it kind of doing chemistry or driving something home that you could be doing at home? Mine ended up working towards my degree, but really take advantage of the opportunities you can get over there. I remember I took a physiology course, which I loved because we got to shadow in a local hospital over there. Super cool experience. And I took a couple of comp sci courses, but it was a great opportunity overall. And if you guys would like to ask some questions or talk about kind of if you're considering a study abroad, I'd love to hear it in the Q&A session later. One thing I'd highly recommend is reaching out to the Erasmus Student Network while you're over there. It's a great way to connect with people from across the world, from different backgrounds. They run a bunch of activities and take your hobbies with you. I started fencing in first year. I went on study abroad in third year, and I got to travel around Spain competing while I was over there, which was a huge opportunity and it was a lot of fun. So I think my 2 cents are try things you're interested in and don't be afraid if you don't have a lot of experience in them. University is a great time to try new things and kind of really just discover what you enjoy. And that's it for me. I'll pass it along to Enam.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, thanks, Zach and Emily, for some really cool presentations. And thank you all again for being here as well. Yeah, so my name is Enam. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a health and society major in my third year, and my concentration is in anthropology. Next slide. Yeah, I want to start off again by talking about the academic side of things and just about the transition from high school to university. I know it can seem like a big transition, but in my personal opinion and in my experience, it's been a really good transition because there's a couple of things that I've really liked about university, and I think hopefully you'll find the same as well. First off, you have so much more freedom and flexibility, right? As you know, you get to choose what you want to study, which classes you want to take part in, and how you structure your time. And on the same note, I feel like classes are so much more interesting because you're taking what actually matters to you. And specifically for the Health and Society program, I feel like you get a really diverse, a large variety of options you can choose from in terms of structuring your schedule. So HSOC is designed in a way where, you look at a health sciences side of things, but you also get a social sciences perspective as well. So you kind of get to see both sides. And it feels really practical in the way that you learn about things like health inequities, social determinants of health, but then you also get to kind of apply it to the politics fields, to the economics field, and you get to look at all these really cool intersections, which I find is really amazing personally. And while we also do look at like science, of course, like pure science. We also look at people as a population, which I feel like is really interesting in terms of looking at the bigger picture of things. And yeah, one thing that I found really cool now, and I hope that you'll have the same experience, I think across all your degrees, is that, you'll learn different theories in class and then you'll just go home, you'll watch the news, whatever, wherever you hear the news or you hear about a new development of, I don't know, maybe a new introduction of a policy and you'll be like, oh, that everything from class makes sense is translating into real world. And it's really cool to see those connections. And it's all very practical, which I think is so cool. So in terms of courses for health and society, in the first year, you kind of get to scope out which courses you enjoy. You have your mandatory health science options as well, of course, but you also have a lot of options to choose from. You get to pick and kind of scope out which social sciences you like as well, whether it's psychology, economics, anthropology. Um, and then in second year, you kind of get to dive deep into your concentration. You pick your concentration. And personally, as you know, as I mentioned, my concentration is in anthropology. And even within certain courses, there's so many different classes. For example, I've taken classes on international development. I've taken classes on environmental anthropology, culture, global systems, all sorts of things. And it gives you a really broad base. And it's been amazing to me personally. And yeah, as you go through your 4 years, you get tons of flexibility in which courses you want to pick, and it's really cool. And yeah, another thing I've enjoyed about university as well is that, no one's chasing you to do your homework. It's a real independent experience, which I thought was a really refreshing change from high school. And sometimes, it might feel like a lot going into it, but a couple of things that were really helpful for me to manage everything is just having like a calendar or making to-do lists and things like that. And I feel like organizing your time that way is really effective and really essential in order to get the most out of your degree. And I know that I don't want to like scare anyone. I know like going into university, like, we all procrastinate a little bit. I still have some procrastination habits. It's natural. But yeah, some of these tools can be really useful in terms of, making the most of your time. Like, for example, I use Notion. I don't know if you've heard of Notion, but there's a bunch of online tools that can be very helpful as well. And I can't talk about the course without mentioning the fact that you'll meet some amazing people, as Zach and Emily have already touched on as well. I know a lot of us come into university unsure of, where we fit in, where we belong. But what's really cool is that when you start taking classes, you meet a lot of like-minded people and you'll start to build, a real community. And university is a really unique time because you get to be in the same room as people with the same interests, and in many cases, people who think the same, right? And you don't necessarily have to be best friends with everyone, but I guarantee you'll definitely find your people. And I might be biased, but I feel like health and society students are especially friendly, especially open. So I doubt anyone will have any problem there. And I just want to really emphasize going into the degree as well is that one of the things that we emphasize in BHSC is collaboration, right? And BHSC is big on, you need to work with everyone in your degree. You need to make sure you're working with people and not against your people. So I know sometimes it's really stressful in terms of, people not knowing what to expect in university, but that collaboration is going to be one of the most important parts. And I'd highly encourage you to, connect with as many people as possible, have as many conversations with people going into it. And yeah, because what you're really going to take away after the 4 years, the friendships you've made, the memories you've made, and all the cool things that you've done together. So yeah, but before I move on to the research section, I know I have a couple pictures up here. I just want to say that what I've found really cool in university is that you get so much flexibility in terms of where you want to study and how you want to do things. So for example, I'm a big cafe person. So I like going around the city. There's a ton of cool spots. You can explore all these different places, and um, I'll kind of switch it up depending on what subject I have to do, for example, or what type of assignment, and I'll go to different places all around the city. I'll go to different places on campus. Campus offers a lot of really cool places. There's whether you like quiet studying in the library or you want to kind of like chill with your friends and yap a little bit while also working. There's tons of opportunities, and honestly, there's something for everyone. So it's really really cool part as well. Yeah, next slide. Yeah, so in terms of research, one of the coolest things that I've done through my degree is research, kind of echoing Zach and Emily as well here. I know there's a lot of talk about research. It can be a little intimidating sometimes, a little confusing. How you get into research, do you need research? What does research look like, etc. But yeah, I'll start by going over some of my experiences, and then I'll dive a little bit into some tips that I have. And of course, we have the Q&A period as well, so there's plenty of opportunities to ask questions there as well. So. I started my official research after in the summer after first year, and similar to Emily, I was always super interested in traveling abroad, and I actually got a chance to do research abroad. And so, just so you know, this is absolutely something you can do in university. I applied for a program through a humanitarian organization actually, and next thing I knew, I was out in Central Asia in Kyrgyzstan. I was unfamiliar with the culture going into it, so it was a completely new experience. But I was out learning Russian, conducting research on climate change, trade data, gender, and health in Central Asia. And I got to meet so many cool people and go on so many amazing adventures, whether it be exploring the city, going on hikes in the mountains, seeing the cool beaches they had over there. And yeah, it was truly an amazing experience for me. And, a privilege to be able to apply the knowledge that you learn here to a completely different context and learn so much at the same time. So if you're thinking of, traveling abroad, um, or doing research abroad or studying abroad, I would highly recommend it, from my experience as well. And although I didn't find the opportunity through the university, I know the university offers tons of these opportunities. If I'm not mistaken, for BHSC specifically, they also do a field school every year in Uganda, which you can apply for. And there's also a ton of other cool things going on, in terms of like studying abroad and global health kind of things. And even outside of BHSE, I know Emily touched on this, but there are tons of opportunities. I believe there's a tab on the UFC website that actually has like a list of all the different things going on, and there's tons. The university has a lot of cool partnerships with a lot of, um, yeah, a lot of organizations and campuses around the world. So, yeah. But kind of transitioning back to the next year, I ended up doing research in Calgary, and I stayed in the city to do research at the Center for Health Informatics. And I was researching a condition called functional neurological disorder. And going into this once again, I did not know much about neurology. I had a bit of interest in health data, but I didn't know too much about neurology. But I was curious, I was willing to learn and open-minded, and I got so much out of it. And yeah, how it actually happened for me was I had a class, a biostats class, I believe in second year. And one of my profs had mentioned that there was a program that was going on, a research program that was accepting students. And given that I was really interested in the class, I reached out to her. I chatted with her a little bit. I applied and then I ended up getting in. So, this experience completely, sparked my interest. Now I still work with the supervisor as well. Super curious about neurology now as well. So yeah, you can gain so much out of research and unexpected things as well that you wouldn't have, thought going into it. So definitely a really, really cool time. And I also want to mention that if you're part of the Health and Society program, you automatically gain lots of research experience. Actually, the whole BHSE program, I would say. First of all, a lot of courses are very research based, which is really cool. It gives you some really nice experience. And for Health and Society specifically in third year, which I'm in right now, one of your classes will be a practicum, which is basically like real world research experience for classes. So you get matched to the supervisor, you conduct your research, and then you present on your research to classmates. Um, and yeah, super, super cool, super fun process. And of course, as you all know, in fourth year, there's also an honors thesis. So tons of opportunities for research there. And yeah, in terms of tips, I just want to stress that, there's no need to rush into research just to check a box, right? I know there's a lot of talk, a lot of expectations, but as my colleagues here have mentioned, what really matters is, finding something that you're curious about, something you're really interested in, and a supervisor who supports you, because that will make the world a difference and make your experience really enjoyable, and you'll get a lot out of it that way. And in terms of like setting up research, there'll be sessions and, later on that will kind of help you through the process. But from my experience, I would say, don't be afraid to talk to your profs. Um, don't be afraid to reach out, whether it's a cold email or a short conversation after class. Um, at least in the BHSE department and pretty much all across university. Yeah, profs are always love to talk and yeah, super friendly and open. So don't be afraid to reach out. And if there's nothing particularly interesting from your profs, it's always a good idea to look at the department's websites. There's tons of opportunities there. And Jennifer is also really good at sending out tons of opportunities that, apply to our interests through email. So we kind of get a first look at a lot of cool things. So you'll be covered. Do not worry about that. And don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen right away, right? There's so many different pathways for research to get involved, and it doesn't always look the same. So um, yeah. Yeah, I'll move on to the next slide here. Yeah, so third slide, I will say this is the most important part, and that is balancing your life. Um, I know Zach mentioned Instagram Reels, and yeah, I see the same. I see the same ones. There's a lot of talk about university being swamped, and I see on TikTok the day in the lives and all those videos that look kind of intimidating, but it's really not all that. It's definitely going to be busy at some times, but it's definitely manageable, and you can absolutely have a life. In fact, it's essential to make sure that you're doing other things as well. Um, what's been key for me is, joining clubs, volunteering, and, holding on to your hobbies. So, for example, for clubs, I was involved in a business club called Enactus, where we worked with small businesses to reduce their ecological footprint. I was also involved in a club that, taught music to children, and I'm super passionate about music, so really cool. And as you can see, those two things are, not necessarily related to health sciences, but you still have opportunities to, take these new experiences. So I would highly encourage all of you to, step out of your comfort zone a little bit, follow your passions and your interests, even if it's not health sciences directly, you'll learn so much, you'll meet so many cool people, and you'll have a ton of, amazing experiences. So that's definitely been one of the most amazing parts of the degree for me, for sure. Um, And then, yeah, in terms of like hobbies, for example, like as you can see on the screen here, there's a couple pictures. There's one of a studio and one of me playing the guitar. And I'm a big music guy, so I'm a singer, songwriter. I release my own songs, and yeah, I had this hobby going into university, and I've managed to continue that as well. And it's a huge de-stressor for me. It's lots of fun, and it's been amazing for mental health as well, like with school and everything. So it's always good, to have like an outlet, whether it be creative or non-creative. It can just be hanging out with your friends, even, going out, whether you like a sport, um, or an art. Like it's a super, super cool thing that I would recommend holding on to during your whole experience because it's super beneficial. And I can't talk about my interest without talking about the fact that I'm a big fan of hockey and soccer and all type of sports here at UC. I'm a big Senators fan. Go Sens, go. Ready for the playoffs. Let's go. But yeah, so honestly, make the most of all like the social opportunities as well, and talk with as many people as you can. Hold on to your hobbies, and yeah, have a great time because burnout is real. You deserve rest, and yeah, like having your personal life on the side is an amazing way, just to recharge and make the most out of your experience again. But, to wrap things up, just a couple quick takeaways here. University is absolutely what you make of it, right? So take time to explore, put yourself out there, try new things, and find your people. Second, don't stress if you don't have it all figured out, right? Like no one really does. We're all kind of going through it, and there's tons of resources. There's t tons of people here to help you along the way, whether it's upper years, whether it's like faculty, staff, whether it's Jennifer and Tharawat. There's tons of people here that are guiding you along the way. So do not worry about that. And, remember this is your journey. Take care of yourself along the way, enjoy it at the same time and grow from it and have lots of fun. But that's all that's all I really have, but we'll open it up for questions here. And but before we do that, actually, there's one more slide that's important. Make sure here there's a QR code. Make sure everyone scans this just so you can register your attendance for the event, because if you do that, then you'll get early access to registration, which is really cool opportunity here. So make sure you scan that code, make sure you register your attendance here, and yeah, thank you everyone.